Okay, and here we are back again. Ellen McHale is the executive director of the New York Folklore Society. They do things all over the state. She's amazing at what she can put together. They've had, we just filmed a exhibition that was at their location on J Street. But Ellen, in her own right, is an author, and she's written a book called The Stable Views, I get the title right, Stories and Voices from the Thoroughbred Racetrack. And we do have a photo of that we'll bring up. What made you write this book?
Well, I started because the National Museum of Racing asked me to come into the backstretch and do some interviewing. So that was 15 years ago, and I spent 2 summers doing that. The museum really wanted to collect some of the stories from the stable workers so that it would amplify their own education department. But once I was there, I really got hooked. And so I began to go back on my own time. Often I would go before I went to work in the morning because the backstretch is busy in the morning.
Oh, there in the morning. Oh, my gosh.
So
that's like at Saratoga. But you also went to Kentucky and you went to other states?
I did. So for about 10 years, I just would get up in the morning early, go to the backstretch, then come back to work. But then about 2012, the Library of Congress had a project, it's ongoing, that they want to document work in America, that their collection at the library in Washington doesn't have, has big gaps in information about people's working lives. And so they gave me a fellowship to then go back to the backstretch. So that was when I got to travel. And so I was able to interview in Louisiana and Florida, Kentucky. I went to Belmont and again back to Saratoga.
And those racetracks are going at a different time than Saratoga, so that kind of worked really well in your favor.
Yes, I was able to go there when Saratoga was dark. February, March, for example, October. But what I found is that the same people were there. So I looked for years for certain individuals in Saratoga.
They have to follow the races.
They have to follow the cycle, yes.
These are transient workers
in a way, aren't they? They are, yes.
Are they employed, or are they, like, it comes up that there's, like, Saratoga's going to have the thing. Do they find out that Saratoga, so then they
No,
how does that work?
Each individual trainer has his or her own group of workers, and so
their own stable.
Their own stable, yes. So, and they may send some of their workers to Florida to train. They may send some to Kentucky. So they decide where they want to race and where they send each individual. And then there are a number of employees that also work for the racing. Well, NYRA in New York, but other racing organizations. So I talked to the horse identifier, for example, whose job it is to make sure it's the correct horse that's being entered.
They're not just using that name and using another. Would that happen? Yeah, maybe.
I've been told it's happened a few times. Yeah.
They get the spray can out and
more that they put the wrong horse, and maybe it's a mistake, but maybe it's they thought about.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. So they have a double.
Yes.
That's funny. I was not aware of that. What do the workers that come and they travel around, do they bring their families with them?
For the most part, no. Some tracks have housing. Belmont, for example, people are based at Belmont, and then the families live there. The kids go to school. There's a lot of services, daycare, for example, at Belmont. There's after-school programming.
So these are what you learned when you for the Library of Congress and others. Yeah.
But often then the horses and the workers are sent to different racetracks during the racing season.
So the families stay there.
Behind.
Yeah. We hear that the conditions in which they work are not always the best. Did you find that?
I think they've improved over the last 15 years. I think there's still some room for improvement, and I think it depends on the racetrack itself. Some facilities are really beautiful. Palm Meadows Training Facility in Florida is just really very nice. Mm-hmm. However, there's places where people are in dormitory situations without abilities to cook, and then you have that income of having to pay for your food every time you want to eat. So there's a real range of conditions depending on what racetrack it is.
Are most of the workers, we hear that they come from a foreign country sometimes, are they American? What is the balance on that?
There's a fair number of U.S. residents. There's also a fair number of people who are coming from other places
that are familiar with horses.
Yes, they're often likely coming from horse cultures in different countries.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Irish workers, for example, who are coming from the Irish racetracks. There are several from Mexico or Colombia who are coming out of a horse culture.
Yeah, the horse culture there. Yeah.
And with there are visas now that you can come as an agricultural worker, and so many people are coming on those. I think they're H-2 visas for temporary workers.
And what was amazing to me, I was at the track this summer for breakfast. I love to do the breakfast at the track. And I noticed so many women now are involved. Did you interview them as well?
Yes, I did. In fact, that was an interest of mine especially. And so there are many more women. Many women who are exercise riders, many more women who are grooms, and some breaking into training. Though I was told that that's very difficult because there's still a glass ceiling.
You would think that being a jockey, a woman would have an advantage over men because of their smaller frame. And but that doesn't seem to be happening, does it?
No, I think it will behoove trainers and owners to recognize that women are certainly as competent as men. So it has to come from that direction, I think.
I mean, Annie Oakley, I guess, could do it all, couldn't she?
That's right.
Right. So when you finished the book, how did you feel?
I felt like maybe there was still lots more to be said,
Did you know when to finish it?
Well, I had a deadline, so I had to really finish it. But no, I could. It's definitely it's just a portrait, and there's certainly so much more that could be done, and so much diversity there in the backstretch that really hasn't been recorded yet.
Is there going to be a part 2?
I don't think, probably not, but who knows? It's a fascinating world. It's a very unique environment for people to work and live because people consider it they live the racetrack, they don't just work there. So I found really fascinating.
We have about a minute more. Could you want a minute or two? Could you tell us a little bit about what's going on at the Folklore Society?
Well, we're having a book signing on Saturday from noon to 2. I'll be there signing books, so people are welcome to come on 129 J Street.
Will they be able to buy one?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we have them for sale.
Or you're just going to sign them? I didn't know.
No, we have them for sale. And we'll be having also an artist in the gallery on the holiday celebration that's in downtown, and I don't remember the date, but that's in middle of December. We'll be having Bob Bernardi there. Will be a wood turner and wood worker. He'll be there also. So we've been trying to do Artist in the Galleries series.
I know. I did. Wilson, was that?
Yes,
yeah,
Kevin Wilson was there.
He
yes.
was very pleasant. Did you see the interview I did?
Yes, I did. Very nice.
Such a nice man. I really enjoyed. I could have stayed all afternoon listening to him. But and it's important too. And we talked about Small Business Saturday. Are you going to be open on Saturday?
We are. In fact, that's the day of the book signing.
Okay.
So
good.
we'll be there. Yes.
So people can purchase if they want to. And you have in your storefront, you have crafts.
Yes, we represent about 100 different artists from throughout New York State. So everything in our gallery is made in New York. And it's on consignment, so you're directly benefiting the artist. It's the New York equivalent of fair trade, but that's an international program. But we are definitely all about supporting artists.
So, and not only that, but we talked about supporting our local businesses. Even though you're kind of not a business, you are representing many of the craftsmen in our state, and this is your opportunity to purchase something that is handmade. It's designed and would be perfect to make that contribution to a small business.
Definitely, definitely.
Great. You do a great job.
Thank you.
Your staff and everything is
you.
doing a great job over there. And J Street, if you haven't been on J Street lately, it's booming, isn't it?
It is booming.
Yeah, and I see Bell Sebo's going to be opening up again.
That's what we hear, yes.
Yeah. How cool.
Exciting
news.
news.
Today's paper, yeah, that was really nice to hear. Ellen McHale, she's an author, and she's also the executive director of the New York State, I guess you don't say state, but it's New York Folklore Society. And if you haven't been over there, stop over there. It's just a fascinating walkthrough. The crafts in there and the art is just incredibly wonderful. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Please do some holiday shopping there. And Ellen, thanks so much for being here.